And we are live, guys. Welcome to another live stream from the Men of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. Let's make sure that everything is working with the stream. Looks like it. Today we're gonna talk about how to learn anything, the first 20 hours. And this is a TEDx talk that I really enjoyed. I watched it a couple of months ago and I was just blown away. And it's important for you guys to hear this one, and I'm going to expound on some things. So we're going to listen to it a bit speedy and enjoy my response. Let's go.
Hi everyone. 2 years ago, my life changed forever. My wife Kelsey and I welcomed our daughter Leela into the world. Now, becoming a parent is an amazing experience. Your whole world changes overnight, and all of your priorities change immediately, so fast that it makes it really difficult to process sometimes. Now, you also have to learn a tremendous amount about being a parent, like, for example, how to dress your child. This was new to me. This is an actual outfit. I thought this was a good idea. And even Leela knows that it's not a good idea. So there was so much to learn and so much craziness all at once. And to add to the craziness, Kelsey and I both work from home. We're entrepreneurs. We run our own businesses. So Kelsey is develops courses online for yoga teachers. I'm an author. And so I'm working from home. Kelsey's working from home. We have an infant, and we're trying to make sure that everything gets done that needs done. And life is really busy.
Life is really busy. Who do you think actually suffers from this? The child. Okay, let's talk about this in terms of the lifestyle that I teach on 3 in Love, or on this channel. This movement it's called 3 in Love, the family lifestyle, where one man has 3 women, and he has found a way, okay, as taught on these channels, the Men of High Value channel, the Women of High Value channel, how to have a family with 3 women that harmonize with each other, and the man knows exactly how to make that happen. You see this in this example. Obviously this kind of doesn't have anything to do with this video, but I kind of want to take that small detour to kind of help you guys understand. He's completely right when it comes to when you have a child, it turns your life upside down. If you live in monogamy, okay? If you live in monogamy, you have the man working and then the woman very often working, and like he said, they're both entrepreneurs. Okay, sounds like a masculine woman he's got there. No offense to him and them. It's just that that's how it works in monogamy. The more masculine or the more feminine a man is, the more masculine the woman's going to be. And a man who's masculine will become feminine through monogamy. And a woman who used to be feminine, as she begins to have kids, she will move towards masculinity. So they end up moving in the opposite direction of their gender roles and their gender happiness. Okay? When a man moves towards masculinity, that's how he becomes happier and happier over time. When a woman remains in her femininity, carefree, unburdened lifestyle, she gets to enjoy her life. Okay, women were designed to enjoy the now, men were designed to make the now better. So in this case, if this girl had had 3 mothers, the man would have been able to invest more of his time in the things that were necessary in order for his family to live in absolute, complete luxury. Okay? Now, he's already successful. You can see he's a successful author, I mean, he's not famous, right? Because you and I hadn't heard about him before this TEDx talk, but he could have been, okay? In a 3 in Love type of setting, you've got so much capacity to work, okay? And I teach the 80-hour work week on this channel because you got so much potential, man. The problem when you have a child, which is the 5th phase of the 5 phases of leadership, allow yourself to be led, lead yourself, lead others, okay, employees or a team, and then lead women, and then lead kids, okay? Now he's trying to do everything all at once, and it doesn't work very well. Now obviously this girl is very happy, and they're probably amazing parents, because it looks like it. And, you know, he's got a great sense of humor and everything. But imagine if this girl could have had 3 mothers taking care of him and he wouldn't have to be distracted and, while he's working. Just had to put that in there.
And a couple weeks into this amazing experience, when the sleep deprivation really kicked in, like around week 8, I had this thought, and it was the same thought that parents across the ages, internationally, everybody has had this thought, which is, I am never going to have free time.
You see this? This is not necessary. In 3 in Love, you don't have that type of thing. Number one, look at it from the woman's perspective. Once she has a baby, her life turns upside down. Okay? She has to focus on this child, and she loves this child, and she wants to be with the child 24/7. If she has one child, and if she loves that child very much and she doesn't love her career and is extremely masculine. The more masculine a woman is, the more she doesn't want to be with her child and she wants to put the child in childcare as fast as possible. If the woman is somewhat feminine, she'll love to be around the child and she might even think about being a stay-at-home mother, etc., etc. However, being a stay-at-home mother by herself, okay, if she doesn't have the luxury of having the husband living with them at home and working from home, that's a luxury for women, okay? That's like amazing, okay? It's way better than the man working outside and then the woman being alone home with the child. Why? Because the man can always help out, and they are 2 parents, or 2 women, so to speak, taking care of the daughter. And I'm serious, it's 2 women. The moment the man stays at home, he's a woman. He's just changed his outfit, and now they're both women, both are working, both taking care of a child. In 3 in Love, however, 3 women would be taking care of 1 baby. They still have free time. They have tons of free time. Whenever they can switch around. They can breastfeed each other's kids. Did you know that? That's possible. They can, instead of sleep deprivation, as he's talking about right here, you don't have to do that because you can take turns. And preferably, the man actually knows how to do sleep training, and he can do that in a place, in the part of the home where the women don't hear the child cry for that 1 week out of that child's entire life, where the sleep is taken care of once and for all. Okay, you guys don't understand how this works yet. Most of you guys don't have kids. I've got 3 of them. I understand how this works. But I just want you guys to understand how these 3 women would actually have free time for the rest of their lives because their man is focused on making money. They're focused on rearing their children and nurturing each other. And that allows them to not worry about a career, not worry about this, that, and the other. They're just focused on their family. 3 women enjoying their lives, 1 child at a time. What do you think's going to happen to that child? He or she's going to love their lives. Why? Because they're adored like crazy when they're babies. Most kids are neglected. Most kids are ignored. Most kids are like, they're busy on the phone and then the baby's crying and it's like, be quiet, I'm on the phone. You know what I mean? And it's like, it doesn't work very well. And as a father, work is free time for masculine men. Okay? So anyway, just wanted, again, to put that in there because as I explain family relations, like when you begin to hear about family problems and parent issues, I want you to every time remember this channel. Oh yeah, that dude talked about how this would have been solved with 3 in Love. Yeah, everything in family relationships will be solved with 3 in Love as long as the man knows how to manage that family in such a way that the women are emotionally fulfilled continuously and at all times so that they can be harmonized together. We teach that on the Women of High Value channel. Link down below. Make sure you subscribe on that channel as well as this one.
And somebody said it's true. Yeah, it's not exactly true, but it feels really, really true in that moment. And this was really disconcerting to me because one of the things that I enjoy more than anything else is learning new things. Getting curious about something and diving in and fiddling around and learning through trial and error and eventually becoming pretty good at something. And without this free time, I didn't know how I was ever going to do that ever again. And so I'm a big geek. I want to keep learning things. I want to keep growing. And so what I decided to do was go to the library. and go to the bookstore and look at what research says about how we learn and how we learn quickly. And I read a bunch of books, I read a bunch of websites, and tried to answer this question: how long does it take to acquire a new skill? You know what I found? 10,000 hours. Anybody ever heard this? 10,000. It takes 10,000 hours. If you want to learn something new, if you want to be good at it, it's going to take 10,000 hours to get there. And I read this in book after book and website after website. And
Have you heard that one before? I've taught you guys about 10,000 hours, but he's going to explain now what he means. And this is powerful stuff. Listen carefully to this speaker. He's awesome.
My mental experience of reading all of this stuff was like, no! I don't have time. I don't have 10,000 hours. I am never going to be able to learn anything new ever again.
So even in this most horrific standpoint of life, where he gets a child and he's like, this is going to be impossible, I'm not going to learn anything new again. Even if that was the truth in terms of, if it took 10,000 hours to learn a new skill, if he works the 80-hour work week, which is impossible once you got kids and living in monogamy, and you work from home, okay, that's gonna take extremely long time to learn a new skill if that was the case, that it took 10,000 hours. Fortunately, it doesn't, okay? But if it did, it would only take 2.5 years of 80 hours a week. That's what I teach on this channel. 40 hours a week for 5 years is 10,000 hours. 80 hours a week for 2.5 years is 10,000 hours. So worst case scenario, a man who has the ability to work 80 hours a week, if his family situation allows it, which only 3 in Love really can create that. Or a man remains single and keeps working for the rest of his life. For what? For what purpose? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he can save the world, but if he doesn't get a family and continues his lineage and gets the joy, bliss, and happiness from female worship, I mean, what is life if you don't get that? You know what I mean? So just wanted, again, to put that in there, that with 3 in Love, you can do this. You can have tons of time on your hands to learn new skills and to develop yourself. Amazing.
But that's not true. So 10,000 hours, just to give you a rough order of magnitude, 10,000 hours is a full-time job for 5 years. That's a long time. And we've all had the experience of learning something new, and it didn't take us anywhere close to that amount of time, right? So what's up? There's something kind of funky going on here. What the research says and what we expect and have experiences, they don't match up. And what I found, here's the wrinkle. The 10,000 hour rule came out of studies of expert level performance. There was a professor at Florida State University, his name is Henriksen. He's the originator of the 10,000 hour rule. And where that came from is he studied professional athletes, world-class musicians, chess grandmasters, all of these ultra-competitive folks in ultra-high-performing fields, and he tried to figure out how long does it take to get to the top of those kinds of fields. And
to the top. Okay, I want you, this is so critical information. I love this stuff. This will encourage you to quit school sooner than you believe, okay? To free up time, all right? Oh, it's so cool.
What he found is the more deliberate practice, the more time that those individuals spent practicing the elements, whatever it is that they do, the more time you spend, the better you get. And the folks at the tippy top of their fields put in around 10,000 hours of practice. Now, we were talking about the game of telephone a little bit earlier. Here's what happened. An author by the name of Malcolm Gladwell wrote a book in 2007 called Outliers, The Story of Success. And the centerpiece of that book was the 10,000 hour rule. Practice a lot, practice well, and you will do extremely well. You reach the top of your field.
That book is awesome, okay? Not that I recommend you guys to read that book right now, but Outliers, Malcolm Gladwell, it's definitely an eye-opener for sure.
So, the message, what Dr. Erickson was actually saying is, it takes 10,000 hours to get to the top of an ultra-competitive field in a very narrow subject. That's what that means. But here's what happened. Ever since Outliers came out, immediately came out, reached the top of the bestseller list, stayed there for 3 solid months. All of a sudden, the 10,000 hour rule was everywhere. And a society-wide game of telephone started to be played. So this message, it takes 10,000 hours to reach the top of an ultra-competitive field, became, it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert at something. which became, it takes 10,000 hours to become good at something, which became, it takes 10,000 hours to learn something. But that last statement, it takes 10,000 hours to learn something, it's not true. It's not true.
Okay, just so that you guys understand, I just want to really reiterate what he's talking about here of the 10,000 hours. You will become a top elite performer in any niche that you choose to do in the entire world. You'll be one of the leading experts with 10,000 hours. That's 2.5 years of 80-hour work week. You will be the top in the world. Okay? In the world. How much do I have to read myself? It's almost like I'm really trying to get to your brain here to understand what this men of high value concept is. And I teach the 80-hour work week so deliberate and so much focus on it. And you get a lot of you guys are like, why the 80-hour work week? I don't want to work it. You got to have a balance. You got to have a life, blah, blah, blah. No. The 80-hour work week is going to make you an expert, not only an expert, but a top performer in any niche or field that you choose. 80 hours a week, 2.5 years. How many years do you have left to live? Probably most of you guys have about 70 to 80 years left. So let's say 75 years, okay? 2.5, 75. Okay? Do you know how much you can do throughout your life? How many fields you can be a top level performer in for the rest of your life? Like, wow. You know what I mean? However, you gotta do one thing at a time. But just this information alone should get you fired up outside your brain, because most people are not willing to put in the work. Most people are not willing to get rid of distractions. Most people are not willing to live voluntary celibacy for a time and to practice SR. Most people are not willing to enter into 3 in love because they're like, whoa, that sounds like too hard and it's too difficult and blah, 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 blah. And the reason why is because they don't understand female nature. One woman is enough for me, man. It's so difficult. The only reason it's difficult is because you got no idea what you're doing. But if you've got 3 in love, that gives you those 80 hours for the rest of your life if you want to. You can cut it down to 70. You can count it down to 60 if you want to. But you can become world-class performer in any field multiple times over. That's insane. Okay? I don't know how long we're going to spend on that, but let's keep going.
So, what the research actually says, if I spent a lot of time here at the CSU library in the cognitive psychology desk because I'm a geek, and when you actually look at the studies of skill acquisition, you see over and over and over a graph like this. Now, researchers, whether they're studying a motor skill, something you do physically, or a mental skill, they like to study things that they can time, because you can quantify that, right? So they'll give research participants a little task, something that requires physical arrangement, or something that requires learning a little mental trick, and they'll time how long a participant takes to complete the skill. And here's what this graph says. When you start, so when researchers gave participants a task, it took them a really long time because it was new and it was horrible. With a little bit of practice, they get better and better and better, and that early part of practice is really, really efficient. People get good at things with just a little bit of practice. Now, what's interesting to note is that if, we don't really, for skills that we want to learn for ourselves, we don't care so much about time, right? We just care about how good we are, whatever good happens to me. So if we relabel performance time to how good you are, the graph flips. And you get this famous and widely known, this is the learning curve. And the story of the learning curve is when you start, you're grossly incompetent and you know it, right? With a little bit of practice, you get really good really quick. So that early level of improvement is really fast. And then at a certain point, you reach a plateau, and the subsequent gains become much harder to get. They take more time to get. Now, my question is, I want that, right? How long does it take from starting something and being grossly incompetent and knowing it to being reasonably good in hopefully as short a period of time as possible?
This is really cool because lately I've actually developed myself as a trader. Not a sport that I recommend for anyone who doesn't understand emotions and haven't, grown somewhat out of their femininity, because trading is like all about controlling your emotion, having a strategy, executing that strategy, and nothing else, okay? And understanding what you're doing. I've really enjoyed this process of becoming a trader. I'm not a professional trader and I only trade once in a while, but I bought a course for $3,000. It's down in the description for anyone who wants it. It's amazing, okay? And I do get a small cut of that if you guys sign up to that course, just for your information. But, however, I know exactly what he's talking about. It took me that amount of time, the early amount of time. In the beginning, I was grossly incompetent, like had no idea what I was doing. It was basically just gambling, okay? But I tried with trades already, even though I wasn't supposed to do that. The course told me, don't trade at all before you finish the course. And guess what I did? I traded before I finished the course. And I lost tons of money, okay? But I'm fired up outside my brain because it's my education. And now I'm actually, getting better at it. And it's exciting how that works. Now that I'm getting better at it, because I can make money when things go up and I can make money when things go down. And there's always something that goes up or down. So which means you can make money in any market. So I absolutely love trading, and I'll probably keep doing that for the rest of my life. Not as a profession, that's not what I want to do, but anytime I want, there are big moves in the market or whatever, I can always go in there and I understand what I'm doing. Because I've applied the thing that he's teaching in this video, okay? And I'm gonna keep on learning for forever. But my biggest, most important skill is, and the thing that I want to get really good at, is YouTube and, female nature and explaining three in love and masculinity, etc., etc. But just wanted to, guys, give you an example of, I just started trading in the beginning of February. Like literally 2 months ago, and I'm kind of becoming proficient at it to the point where I'm not losing money anymore. It's like I'm kind of in the green all the time, which is great, and that's the only place I want to be. And maybe it's only because of crypto is actually doing quite well, but whatever. Point is, let's get good at stuff, okay? And let's put in the work.
So, how long does that take? Here's what my research says. 20 hours. That's it. You can go from knowing nothing about any skill that you can think of. Want to learn language? Want to learn how to draw? Want to learn how to juggle flaming chainsaws? If you put 20 hours of focused, deliberate practice into that thing, you will be astounded at how good you are. 20 hours is doable. It's about...
Dang, that's powerful stuff. Could you imagine 80 hours a week developing skills for the rest of your life to serve other people? You'll be a ballistic missile, and that's what we want to be.
45 minutes a day for about a month, even skipping a couple days here and there. 20 hours isn't that hard to accumulate. Now, there's a method to doing this, because it's not like you can just start fiddling around for about 20 hours and expect these massive improvements. There's a way to practice intelligently. There's a way to practice efficiently that will make sure that you invest those 20 hours in the most effective way that you possibly can. And here's the method. It applies to anything. The first is to deconstruct the skill. Decide exactly what you want to be able to do when you're done, and then look into the skill and break it down into smaller and smaller pieces. Most of the things that we think of as skills are actually big bundles of skills that require all sorts of different things. The more you can break apart the skill, the more you're able to decide what are the parts of the skill that will actually help me get to what I want, and then you can practice those first. And if you practice the most important things first, you'll be able to improve your performance in the least amount of time possible.
I love that. Everything, when it comes to learning anything or learning a skill or whatever, it's all about prioritization, okay? What I teach on this channel is about life skills, okay? Is about mastering life and actually enjoying and getting joy, bliss, and happiness out of your life at the maximum amount possible. And the way to do that is by developing the skills to get that. and we teach on the channel how to do that and prioritize the most important skills. The most important skill, hands down, is work ethic. Massive, massive work ethic. Okay? 80 hours a week, if you can do that, everything else will fall into place because you're gonna get everything else that you want, okay, in it.
The second is learn enough to self-correct. So get 3 to 5 resources about what it is you're trying to learn. Could be books, could be DVDs, could be courses, could be anything. But don't use those as a way to procrastinate on practice. I know I do this, right? Get like 20 books about the topic. It's like, I'm gonna start learning how to program a computer when I complete these 20 books. No.
That's a problem. And this is what a lot of people do, okay? This is why I tell you guys to quit school at the fastest possible opportunity. Because you are basically procrastinating, okay, the day you develop a skill. You're not learning any skills at school. You're just filling your brain with garbage. Garbage stuff that you probably won't use in the job that you eventually will get. And that job you're only gonna keep, if you follow the Men of High Value system, for maximum 18 to 30 months. And then you're done. And then you now can start a business, okay, or you've started a business while at the same time having that job, okay, or those jobs, the 3 jobs, and now you continue on and become a multimillionaire because you're an entrepreneur and create businesses. You didn't even need that skill or you didn't need that garbage in your brain in order to acquire the skill that you needed in your job, in the job that you're only going to keep for a certain amount of months before you're done with all that crap. Quit school. You're 12 years old. Quit. Quit. Watch my quit school video, okay? I wish I had a link. Maybe I should always have that link below in the description because quitting school is fantastic. But you gotta understand how to do it with your parents. Your parents is the only problem that's stopping you from quitting school. Guess what you get to do when you quit school? You get to apply the stuff. You get to do the 10,000 hours. You know, I counted up how long you actually spend in terms of time when it comes to school from the age of 6 until the age of 18, 19 years old. It's approximately 16 to 17,000 hours. Okay, now if we take away, let's say we take away 1/3 of that, okay? Let's say you don't try to be disciplined between 6 and 12 years old or 6 and 11 years old. Obviously, it's ridiculous to try and do that, okay? So you take that away, you get approximately 8 to 10,000 hours left. So imagine if you'd quit school at 12 years old to actually do the 80-hour work week, you would have become a grandmaster, okay? An elite performer in whatever it is that you choose to do. Amazing, right? Absolutely amazing. And that's what I recommend for you guys. If you're not 12 years old, but you're 23 and you're just like, yeah, but I need to finish this degree, you're screwed. It's taking you forever. Why? I really, like, man, that's one of the most powerful things I can tell you guys. Quit school. Quit school, quit school, quit school, quit school. You're gonna get fired up outside your brain. My kids will never go to school a day in their lives, okay? And they're gonna get schooling. We're gonna have, you know, we're having tutors and etc. and all that stuff over time so that they can learn everything that they learn in school, whatever. But we're gonna do it in 5% of the time that other kids use, so that they can learn other stuff like jiu-jitsu and basketball and you know, shoot with guns and all that stuff that I want to teach my sons, right? And my daughter, she gets to enjoy her life and do massages and do all the, you know, fingernails and all the girly stuff that she wants to do with her mom, right? This is what I want my kids to have, an enjoyable life while they practice discipline because there's a reward waiting. Anyway, I could talk forever about this, but I just want you guys to understand, quit school so that you can have time to develop these skills.
That's procrastination. What you want to do is learn just enough that you can actually practice and self-correct or self-edit as you practice. So the learning becomes a way of getting better at noticing when you're making a mistake and then doing something a little different.
Yes.
The third is to remove barriers to practice. Distractions, television, internet, all of these things that get in the way of you actually sitting down and doing work.
I actually recommend this as step number 1. okay? Because if you don't remove practice barriers, if you look, okay, I don't want to, yeah, 11:26, hold on. If you look back at number 1, you don't have time for that if you've got distractions. You can't deconstruct a skill, and you can't learn enough to self-correct, blah, 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 if you don't do this one first. Remove distractions. That's the number 1. That's why I say quit school. That's why I say quit on women. That's why I say quit partying. That's why I say go to bed at 10 o'clock, okay, every single day and wake up at 6 instead in the morning, every single day, and make that your consistent habits. And for the next 3 years, 2 years, 2.5 years, whatever, you're focused, you're honing in, removing all distractions so that you can learn what it is that you need in order for you to become elite world performer in your niche or skill. Preferably as an entrepreneur or business owner, okay? Amazing. But 3 is actually step number 1.
Is to remove barriers to practice. Distractions, television, internet, all of these things that get in the way of you actually sitting down and doing work. And the more you're able to use just a little bit of willpower to remove the distractions that are keeping you from practicing, the more likely you are to actually sit down and practice, right? And the 4th is to practice for at least 20 hours. Now, most skills have what I call a frustration barrier. You know, the grossly incompetent knowing it part. That's really, really frustrating. We don't like to feel stupid. And feeling stupid is a barrier to us actually sitting down and doing the work.
This is amazing. Guess what? Femininity in men, you don't like to fail. It's a warped aspect of your masculinity. 1, as a masculine man, you want to compete, right? You want to be competitive. You want to win. However, your femininity makes you quit early because you feel like you're not winning. You see that? But as a man, you should keep going until you've gotten past that grossly incompetent stage that he's talking about. Femininity wants to start something new, and then, it got boring, and then you start something new. That got boring, and then start something new. I got a client, and within 3 months, every single time it was a new project, a new thing, a new product, a new service, a new something that needed to be started. And I'm like, just pick one. Let's just pick one, because if you don't pick one thing, you're gonna start over again and again and again and again. You never get momentum. You gotta have something, in my opinion, for 6 months. He says 20 hours, okay, but he's talking about individual skills. I'm talking about creating momentum in a business where you're selling something to the world, okay? That only takes 6 months for you to create momentum so people actually pay you cash to get that product or service. So it took you 20 hours maybe to learn everything that needed to be learned, but then there's more skills that you need to learn in order to, market that product. But, just going too deep into that detail.
So, by pre-committing to practicing whatever it is that you want to do for at least 20 hours, you will be able to overcome that initial frustration barrier and stick with the practice long enough to actually reap the rewards. All right? That's it. It's not rocket science. 4 very simple steps that you can use to learn anything. Now,
and in many ways, 3 and 4 was 1 and 2. Like, that's the first thing. Now, well, actually, number 4 is 1. This is my skill, by the way. This is my expertise, is also prioritization. Okay, you see that? Because I'm like, get rid of it. Get rid of distraction, everything, okay? And let's simplify it to the nth degree and prioritize what comes first. What comes first is making a decision that you're going to practice something for 20 hours to learn the skill. That's a decision that comes first. And it's a decision that you never ever give up on before you've done the 20 hours, because you're a goal setter and a goal achiever. Goal achiever, okay? Number 2 is get rid of distractions. Get rid of all the barriers for you being able to do the 20 hours. And then he says, deconstruct the skill, which means really begin with the end in mind. What do I specifically want to learn? What are the basics? And then, which was number 2, which I don't remember, but you can go back and check it out if you want.
This is easy to talk about in theory, but it's more fun to talk about in practice. So one of the things that I've wanted to learn how to do for a long time is play the ukulele. Has anybody seen Jake Shimabukuro's TED Talk where he plays the ukulele and makes it sound like he's like a ukulele god? It's amazing. It's like, I saw it, it's like, that's so cool. It's such a neat instrument. I would really like to learn how to play. And so I decided that to test this theory, I wanted to put 20 hours into practicing ukulele and see where we got. And so the first thing about playing the ukulele is in order to practice, you have to have one, right? So I got an ukulele, and my lovely assistant, thank you, sir. I think I need the cord here. It's not just an ukulele, it's an electric ukulele. Yeah. So the first couple hours are just like the first couple hours of anything. You have to get the tools that you're using to practice. You have to make sure that they're available. My ukulele didn't come with strings attached. I had to figure out how to put those on. Like, that's kind of important, right? And learn how to tune, and learn how to make sure that all of the things that need to be done in order to start practicing get done, right? Now, one of the things when I was ready to actually start practicing was I looked in online databases and songbooks for how to play songs. And they say, okay, ukuleles, you can play more than one string at a time, so you can play chords, that's cool, you're accompanying yourself, yay you. And when I started looking at songs, I had an ukulele chord book that had hundreds of chords, looking at this thing, like, whoa, that's intimidating. But when you look at the actual songs, you see the same chords over and over, right? As it turns out, playing ukulele is kind of like doing anything. There's a very small set of things that are really important and techniques that you'll use all the time.
Wow, this is, okay, I know I'm speeding through this, but this information is amazing and applies to everything, okay? Doing this trading course actually helped me it reminded me of exactly what he's talking about here. That, and the dude in the course, the trading course that has the description and the link here, he says that there's only 7 skills that you need to master in order to become an elite performer in terms of trading, okay, an elite trader. And I'm like, what? 7 skills that you need to master, but he's like, but you gotta master it, okay? Like mastering it. And I'm like, this is awesome, okay? So that's simple. I just need to learn 7, and that's it. I can do that. So let's go through the 7 and let's figure it out. In the exact same way he's explaining this here, that playing the ukulele is only 4 different chords. You learn those 4 chords, and you can play the ukulele better than 99% of the population. You can do that in any skill or endeavor. But if you don't have the work ethic, you're not gonna get squat done. You're gonna get lazy. You're gonna be like, oh, I don't wanna do anything. I'm just gonna sit here and watch YouTube, or sit here and watch TV, or sit here and do nothing, or just hang out with my friends. You wanna grab a beer? You know, like, bro, do you know how exciting life becomes when you begin to master skills? When you begin to master, you know, like yourself, and mastering things that other people have not mastered? The cool part about it is that you become a very important person. You can go to a party. You've learned some magic tricks. You spent 20 hours learning magic tricks. Suddenly, you're like the focus point of the party. You know? It's not that that you want to be the focus part of the party, but do you understand what I'm saying? You could if you wanted to. You want to learn how to play the guitar, the ukulele, you want to learn how to, you know, learn Russian, or whatever it is that you want to do, bro. Everything is open for you if you have a massive work ethic. But it's not the time right now to focus on those individual skills. There's a dude that I've been watching on YouTube for a while. He still has 300 subscribers. Awesome dude. Go and subscribe to him. His name is Hans Lee, okay? And he's a Chinese dude. Hans with Z, okay? And he's got his YouTube channel, and I'm like, he's been having a YouTube channel for like 2 years. And I'm still subscribed to him, and I see him talk about so many different topics. It's language, it's data programming, it's this, that, and the other, and it's always all over the place. No offense to him. I'm just saying that imagine if he only focused on one thing and became a master at it. It would revolutionize his life, okay? And that's what I want for you as well. There's like 100 trees in the woods, and every time, like, you want to chop them all down, meaning you have so many different skills and things you want to learn and things you want to develop and all that stuff. And this is something that he does not say in this video, but I'm going to tell you. Prioritization. You got to prioritize which skill should I learn first. That's the most important. Because if I don't prioritize, then I'm going to chop at 100 trees in the woods at the same time. What does that mean? You grab an axe and then you go and chop one time on each tree. Why? Like, why would you do that? Chop. That was one tree, and let's go to the next tree. Chop. Oh, okay, I've done the second tree. Let's go to the third tree. And then you chop one time. How long is it going to take before you've chopped one tree? It's going to take absolutely forever. And you're never going to get it done because you'll quit. I want you to understand that you do 100 swings at one tree at a time. Because if you do that, you'll chop all of the trees eventually. Because people will join you. They'll see you cutting down that one tree and they'll be like, whoa, that's pretty cool. Let's chop together. And suddenly, personal development is a team sport, and now you guys are working together to actually cut down the whole woods, okay? Not that that's what you're going to do, but do you understand what I'm saying? Everyone's now collaborating to make everyone's life amazing because you prioritized. And what is the most important thing to prioritize in your life right now? Which skill? I'd say just work ethic. Okay, work ethic is a skill, but that one takes a little bit longer than 20 hours. It takes 80 hours a week for 3 months to become the 80-hour work week man, the voluntary 80-hour work week man, okay? I want that for you, because if you do that, you'll have learned the discipline and the initiation factor to learn all the skills that you want to learn eventually over time. And once you got the 80-hour work week, you develop your business so that you are free from having a job for someone else for the rest of your life. A job that you didn't choose, okay? A job that you needed for work, for money, okay? Once you've gotten a business that replaced all of those incomes, you now have a business, which means that you choose your time, you choose your work hours, you choose your workflow, and you choose when you learn skills that you want to learn. Okay, imagine eventually you'll have 80-hour work week, but then 2 hours a day or 1 hour a day is you developing a skill like that. Whatever skill you want to learn, man, become exciting. Become an exciting person. And you can do that. I'm fired up for you, man. Your life is amazing once you begin to become important. And you become important by learning skills and being interesting. Okay, and if you're interesting, other people actually benefit from you and being in your presence, so they want to be in your presence, which gives you higher value. Men of high value, right? Dang.
And so in most songs, you'll use 4, maybe 5 chords, and that's it. That's the song. You don't have to know the hundreds, as long as you know 4 or 5. So while I was doing my research, I found a wonderful little medley of pop songs by a band called Axis of Awesome. And somebody knows it. And what Axis of Awesome says is that you can learn, or you can play pretty much any pop song of the past 5 decades if you know 4 chords. And those chords are G, D, E minor, C. 4 chords, pump out every pop song ever, right?
If you guys want to hear it sped, I don't know. Should we do it? Yeah, let's just do it, but it'll be sped up, okay? So, but you can go to the video and watch the whole thing if you guys want to, but I'll speed it up.
Cool, I'd like to play every pop song ever, so that was the first song I decided to learn, and I would like to actually share it with you. Ready? Right. Just a small town girl, living in a lonely world. Just a midnight train going anywhere. I heard that you settled down, that you found a girl, that you're married now. Every night in my dreams I see you, I feel you, that's just how I know we'll go on. I won't hesitate no more, it cannot wait, I'm yours. 'Cause you are amazing, we do amazing things. I could, and I would, go wherever you will. Can you feel the love tonight? Live with or without you. When find myself in times of trouble. Mother Mary comes to me. Sometimes I feel like I don't have a partner. No woman to cry. I'm on the show. It's a dream. I come from down under. Once a jolly swag man can't fight a billabong. Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy. Here's my number, so call me. Hey, sexy lady. Whoop, 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 whoop. Welcome back inside. Time to say goodbye. Closing time. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. I love that song. And I have a secret to share with you. So by playing that song for you, I just hit my 20th hour of practicing the ukulele. And so it's amazing, pretty much anything that you can think of. What do you want to do? The major barrier to learning something new is not intellectual. It's not the process of you learning a bunch of little tips or tricks or things. The major barrier is emotional. We're scared. Feeling stupid doesn't feel good. In the beginning of learning anything new, you feel really stupid. So the major barrier is not intellectual, it's emotional. But put 20 hours into anything. Doesn't matter. What do you want to learn? You want to learn language? You want to learn how to cook? You want to learn how to draw? What turns you on? What lights you up? Go out and do that thing. It only takes 20 hours. Have fun.
Just wanted to show you guys what he said, the major barrier. It's emotional, bro! It's emotional!
Ted, we're passionate about public speaking.
I absolutely love that aspect. You know, like knowing that's the barrier for entry for actually doing the 20 hours to learn any new skill. It's an emotional barrier. And that's the skill you learn on this channel. This is the skill that I've used to be way ahead of other people who are trading, okay? And I learned that skill fast because I had the basics, and the basics is controlling your emotions. If you can control your emotions and understand how your emotions work, you've solved one of the biggest mysteries in your life, and the biggest challenges that you have is being feminine. That's it. If you figure out how to walk towards masculinity one small day at a time together with this channel and this movement, you will become an amazing person, okay? And I'm fired up to help you to get there. Let's see. Now is the time to build. Your stream has been temporarily blocked. All right, that's fun. All right, thank you so much for watching. I'll see y'all in the next one.